Yeah, I couldn't sign up. I couldn't sign up. Well, that's what they'll take. And
I couldn't sign up. I signed up and they said my name didn't show up.
Maybe two.
there's no even button to sign up for general welfare.
Like
It's just that there's
2
no
months.
So
Wow.
I couldn't sign up.
Yeah, well, I was.
We're gonna start.
I did Toastmasters a day last time.
Good
I
evening.
enjoyed that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I think we have to start on time. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, time flies. We are on the first of the last month of the year. And another big year for all of us. We are just 31 days away from the new year. How you feel about this year? If I can give you a 3 word, what would you say about this year?
Challenging.
Challenging.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
Very enjoyable. Good.
Monumental. Monumental.
Monumental.
Well, I've been reading the news and it seems a little depressing.
Depressing. Very good.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
What is depressing? And how about you, Scott?
Challenging.
Challenging.
Toastmasters. It's all
Can I do 4 words? You
Yeah,
said
please.
3. Can I do 4?
Please.
Okay, it couldn't be better.
Could be better.
Wow.
Okay, very good. And for me, I would say, take me back. Take me back to the beginning of
Not
the
my
year.
words, but yeah, words, yeah.
I feel that I wasted time and I lost something. I want to do a few things better than I did. But anyway, because I can do that anyway. So, are you still in good progress pursuing your personal New Year resolution? Have you made any goals of yours?
Well, I joined Toastmasters.
All right, that's good progress. Since then that you think about joining Toastmaster, the first time that you think about joining Toastmaster and the day that you really step into the Toastmaster club, how long does it take for you? But like for me, I thought about being in the Toastmaster a year before I really joined because I was a little bit procrastinating, right? So yeah, there may be some goals that we forgot about, or some goals that we really abandoned along the way, right? But it's life. And also one of my personal goals for this year is to complete the CC manual before the end of the year, meaning I have only 1 week left. I have done my project number 9 in the last meeting, and there's going to be a project number 10 in the next meeting on the 15th of December. And the team goal is to support VP Edwin, right? Because he has the big goal to bring our club to qualify the distinguished club, right? So we are a little bit away from the goal, and we should accomplish within this academic year, right? This is good. Well, when the time is right, I would like to call the meeting to order, and I would like to hand over the meeting to the Toastmaster of the day.
Oh, by the way, do we have a gavel?
Gavel.
I have it here.
Have you?
I'm going to
Good.
hit it right now. And okay, let me do it again. I would like to call. I would like to call the meeting to order. And hand over the meeting to the Toastmaster of the day, with myself. Yours truly. So it's good to be in a small club because you can turn the challenges into opportunity, because you can take multiple tasks and you can feel yourself in the role that you want to be anytime you want. And within a year, you will be able to do so many things at ease. You can be a treasurer, you can be a good speaker, you can be a VPE, or even a president. So I feel good to be here and take multiple roles and being in a small group. And I cannot forget to welcome you to the meeting number 173 of our meeting of our club. And I would like to introduce the word of the day. We have a pen. One more pen. Sorry, I didn't look for it.
I don't know if we have one.
And the word of the day is trundle. Trundle. You may be familiar with that word, but not me. I'm personally not familiar with this word. I found it last night when I looked for the word of the day when I prepared the agenda for the club. And according to the source, this word maybe originated in the year 1500. It means walk with a rolling, like the example of the sentence is that they get her into a wheelbarrow and trundle her all over the town. So this word may be the original word of the word trend. So it comes from trundle to trend. All right. Trundle. Okay. I think we don't need a pen already. Thank you, Edwin. I'm done. Sorry, I didn't prepare. I didn't look for the pen because they are normally here at the board. Well, let's go to the agenda for tonight. Tonight we are going to have 3 prepared speeches. 2 speeches are from our member of the club, and the last speech will be from Paul White, who is our guest for tonight, our honored guest. And I would like to introduce you to Paul later when he will come up for his speech. Okay, and our general evaluator for tonight is Galina, right?
It's okay.
All right.
Okay by me.
Would you like?
No,
Would
no,
you
no.
like to meet?
No, I'd like to hear you instead.
Oh, okay. No problem.
All right.
Hopefully I won't disappoint you.
Go for it.
And she will be our table topic of the day as well. Table topic master
Wow.
today.
You can be tabletop.
Double duty.
Right. We always have the double duty multiple tasks here. And our timer for tonight, Scott,
Yeah.
will you please introduce about the timer?
So the green means like 5 minutes is up, and yellow is 6 minutes, red is 6 minutes. You gotta finish your speech and get it done. But for Paul, yours will be 8, 9, and 10. Okay. And for table topic discussion, green will be 2 minutes, yellow 2.5, and red.
Green 1 minute?
Oh,
One.
okay. So that's 1 minute,
Yeah.
Right.
and then that's 2.
1.5.
One and a half.
Oh, 1.5, and this is 2.
Right.
Okay.
The evaluations are 2.5.
Oh, all right. 2.5.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
fine.
let's straighten it out. How long, Paul?
Evaluations,
Oh, okay.
2,
Yeah,
2.5, and 3.
2, 2.5, and 3.
And 3, yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
Toastmasters today, are there any other changes to the assignments, like the personal evaluators?
Personal evaluator. Patra will be personal evaluator for the first speaker, John, and Paul will be the personal evaluator for Edwin, our second speaker.
And Peter? Any
And
more?
Paul's evaluator will be.
And Paul is going to give ice.
Whoever.
Paul's actually making speech. Do you want to
Icebreaker.
Sure. It's not an icebreaker, is it?
No, it's not an icebreaker.
Speech number 10?
It's an advanced speech
I haven't figured it out yet, but
Do
I
you,
will.
have, do you have your manual there?
I don't have a I didn't come prepared to speak.
Do you know what
But I
manual
will
it is?
write the objectives and the manual before we get to me
Okay,
and
sure.
give it to you.
No worries. Right.
Okay, so Peter, would you like to be
Yeah, I'll be
P.
PE for John.
the
Okay.
Very nice. Our first speaker for tonight is a corporate trainer. He joined Toastmasters to improve his voice tone and projection of the body language. And he also wants to control his body language. He's going to give a speech about giving us a warning. And the title for his speech is Instant Karma. This follow the project number 3, get to the point. Would personal evaluator read the objective of this project, please?
Okay, I thought you did. You didn't? Okay, here we go. Bear with me. This is my first time coming back into Toastmaster after 6 years absence. The objectives for project number 3 are: select a speech topic and determine its general and specific purposes. Organize the speech in a manner that best achieves those purposes. Ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purposes. Project sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness you may feel. Strive not to use note, and time allowed is 5 to 7 minutes.
Fellow Toastmaster and guests, prepare for being one. Let's welcome John Wright.
Thank you. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. I learned about karma where the old world meets the new world. I was in a McDonald's restaurant in New Delhi, India, enjoying a fast food meal. When a guy walked in, he was wearing a white turban, a saffron-colored robe, and sporting a long gray beard. He sat down exactly opposite me at my table. He didn't even order any food. He started talking about the future. My future, to be exact. He wanted me to pay him to tell me about my future. I said no thanks and shook my head no. Then he started talking about karma. You know, do good things and good things happen to you. Do bad things and bad things happen to you. And I had no intentions of paying this guy to tell me about my future or teach me about karma. I continued eating. Then he started talking about fast food karma. I'm thinking, oh, great, a crazy guy, I said to myself. Well, I quickly finished eating and got up to walk out. As I walked out, he called to me, hey, be careful out there, fast food man. I thought, what is it? Maybe this guy really is a guru. Anyway, I went for a walk. And I walked to a shopping area. It was a little bit like the Sukhumvit Road around Nana, where there are a lot of shops really close together, a lot of sellers standing around talking, a lot of shoppers mingling, and everything's really close together and busy. Well, the sellers at this market in New Delhi were really talkative. As I walked past their shop, they would hold up their product and right into your face. And at the same time, they're talking about it, trying to get you to buy it. They had everything for sale there. Clothes, shoes, wooden gifts, brass gifts, all the usual things. Then I saw something that I hadn't seen really before in my travels. That was the shoe shine guys. They were guys that would charge you to clean your shoes. And they were mostly older men, and they were sitting on the ground, you know, all around the market, all along the sidewalk. And I thought, well, it was quite interesting for me, and I found myself looking at them as I was walking through the market. I noticed they had a little shoe shine kit, a little towel for buffing and shining your shoes, and so I kept walking along, and And then I realized they were talking to me as I was walking along. At first, I couldn't understand what they were saying, but then I got it. They were saying, "Sir, sir, clean your shoe. Sir, sir, clean your shoe." I thought, well, I'm not going to pay anybody to clean my shoe. Besides, my shoes were already clean. So I kept walking. I walked a long ways. I walked past some streets. I kept walking. And the shoe shine guys were like all over this market. And as I kept watching, I noticed they weren't getting any business. I looked closer and it's like they looked like they were poor. And they were poor, I think. I thought they needed money. And they were asking for money too. "Sir, sir, clean your shoes. Sir, sir, clean your shoes." Well, I thought, why should I pay somebody to clean my shoes? After all, I can do it by myself. Well, I kept walking. After walking for about 20 minutes, I thought I started seeing the same shoe shine guy. And I kept walking, and I realized one shoe shine guy was following me. I would walk past him. He would get up, quickly walk ahead, sit down and wait for me. I'd walk past him again and he'd say, "Sir, sir, clean your shoes." Well, I kept walking. Next thing I realized, the guy's walking beside me. I'm walking along and he's saying, "Sir, sir, clean your shoes." I kept saying no, shaking my head no, and I kept walking. He had his little rag in his hand like he was ready to go. And I kept walking. He was following me, and then he started saying, "Sir, sir, something on your shoe. Sir, sir, something on your shoe." Well, I kept walking. Then I thought something he said, it didn't sound right. He said, "Sir, sir, something on your shoe?" Well, I looked down. What do you know? On top of my right shoe, a pile of poop. Poo-poo. Poop, P-O-O-P. On top of my shoe. Not the sides, not the bottom, right on top. The guy must have put the poo-poo on my shoe when I had stopped and was waiting to cross the street. And so now he wanted to clean my shoes. And the last thing I was going to do is pay some guy to clean poop off my shoe who put it on there in the first place. So I was shaking my foot trying to get the poo-poo to come off, and he was trying to clean my shoe. I was shaking and shaking my leg and kicking. The poo-poo wouldn't come off. And he was trying to clean. I wouldn't let him clean. I'm pushing. It must have looked like some weird kind of dance. Then it hit me. Not the shoe shine guy. I had walked past all those shoe shine guys. I was wearing my American business clothes. I must have looked rich to those guys. And actually, I was rich compared to them. I didn't give them one baht. So you know what hit me? It was the instant karma. So I gotta warn you, be careful out there. Instant karma's gonna get you. Don't be a fool like me. Let your money be free. Shine on, or else you'll get poo-pooed on. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, John, for your fun story. Your fun story in India, and it's a belief in our eastern part, in our eastern region, the eastern part of the world, about karma, especially taught by Buddhism. There is no debt not being paid in the universe because the karma system is a perfect karma. Whatever you do, you will get paid, good or bad. So I thank you again to John to give us the fun story about your past experience. All right, let's come to our next speaker for this evening. Our next speaker was a university student of civil engineering, and now he is a social entrepreneur in Thailand and wants to inform you about one of the most modern civil engineer wonder of the world and why it was built. He's our own VPE of the club, and is Edwin Forrest. Before I call upon Edwin Forrest to come over, can Paul, his individual developer, read the objective of his speech?
Certainly, Edwin is speaking from the Speaking to Inform Advanced Manual, project number 2, Resources for Informing. His objectives are to analyze the audience regarding his chosen subject, to focus the presentation at the audience's level of knowledge. That means you really have to dumb it down for me. The third thing is to build a supporting case for each major point using information gathered through research. And finally, he is to effectively use at least one visual aid to enhance the audience's understanding of his presentation. And the time is 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, and his Speaking to Inform title is A Giant Change. Let's give a big hand to Edwin Forrest.
Thank you very much. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. It's great to be here. I am, as you know, Vice President of Education, and I've just finished my CC, which I'm very happy about. So I'm into my second project, which as the evaluator, my personal evaluator just told you, it's basically resources to inform. I have wanted to ask a question about my studies back in civil engineering. I was always wondering, what is the greatest civil engineering feat in all the world? And I think a lot of you already know some of them. One of them is in China, the Great Wall. How many of you have seen the Great Wall? I know that there are a lot of wonders in the world. I don't have the picture of the Great Wall, but I do have a picture of this, which I will tell you a little bit about, which is a topic I'm talking about, civil engineering. But first, let me show you this one. How many of you recognize this particular picture?
Machu Picchu.
Can anybody tell me why this is a wonder of the world?
Is that Lima?
It's so high, it's a sacred site for the Incas.
Right.
And
It's
a beautiful irrigation.
right. It was
canals.
built in 1450, which means that it's quite old. Also, it's about 8,000 feet above sea level, which means that's very, very high. But another one is this. I'm sure a lot of you recognize this. This one, of course, is the Great Pyramid. There's about 380 pyramids in Egypt. So this is the one that's most famous to most of us. This is a place I would love to go and see. I've never been there. The one I wanted to tell you about is not this one, but this is one in the United States. Many of you might recognize it, might even have been there. The Golden Gate. Why do people call this the Golden Gate?
Because it's painted orange.
Red.
Red is orange.
Correct. We have an expert here because he's from America, so he shouldn't be able to answer this question. But honestly, it is a Golden Gate. It's the second largest bridge in the world. It's the other one that I'm thinking about is in America also. You might recognize this one. This was in Nevada. Exactly.
Between canyons or something.
This is in Hoover Dam, which is in America. It was built during the Depression in the 1930s. This particular one was basically used in the Depression because a lot of people were unemployed, and this actually put people to work. And at the same time, this new one that I'm going to speak about today is another dam, which you folks may not know as well, but I think it's one of the greatest wonders of the modern technology because it just got finished this year in 2012. Can anybody guess what river this will be on?
Yangtze?
Yes, correct. Yangtze. And Yangtze River in China. This is the picture that most people would see if they went there because this is the valley in which it's at. It's called the Three Gorge Dam. This particular dam, before it was put up, it's a very nice place. There's like 2 or 3 million people that are actually working on this river, and it's very, very calm and peaceful. So the reason I brought this up is because the dam itself is very controversial. I do this sort of just to give you an idea of what the river looks like. This is Chongqing, this is the Three Gorge Dam here, and this goes all the way to the Yellow Sea, which is in Nanking, and Beijing is right here, just to give you an idea of where we're at. Now, this particular one is a better map. I know that you cannot see it here, but you have an idea that the Yangtze is the third largest river in the world. And the problem with the rivers is they cause a lot of floods, and that's the reason the dam was built. Because in the year, since 2,000 years ago, there's been about 218 catastrophes in terms of floods. That means millions of people die every year because of the floods that's caused by this river. So the dam supposedly is supposed to stop that. So that's one of the reasons. Now, what is the other reason? Why do you think China would build such a dam? Anybody have an idea?
For electricity.
Correct.
Become more famous.
Correct. That's where I
Hero project.
show this. This actually is one of the largest electrical power plant in the world. It's equivalent to 15 nuclear plants. So it's actually very powerful. This particular plant is so powerful that it is 10 times more power than Hoover Dam.
Wow.
That's amazing how much it's done. I know that a lot of us would not understand these things, but one of the things that's nice about it is they actually have the future shipping locks, which actually means that ships can go up. That's another reason that it's been built, so that there's more trade, more bigger ships can go up the river and down the river without problems. In conclusion, I would like to say that this particular construction is going to be one of the greatest wonders in the world, basically because of the fact that, number one, it will be, in the future, one of the things that people will not understand how they built such a large dam, because they don't even know if they can even complete some of the things that it's been proposed to do. And it has not only done that, it's been very controversial because it has really buried about 15 cities underwater. It has put 160 towns underwater and 1,600 villages underwater. So it's very controversial. But at the same time, what I wanted to say is that it actually is producing 15 million households with more electricity in Beijing and Nanking and all of northern China. So that's a balancing game there, but it's still one of the wonders of the world. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, C.C. Edwin, about your information about the civil wonder. And this makes me think of other wonder of the world for today's world. One of the things is Google. Google is the biggest library of the world, and it is very wonderful for me. And another thing is Facebook. Facebook shortens the distance between your friends and your family's house to yours. And the third wonder that I can think of was brought by Steve Jobs, the iPhone. iPhone put Facebook and Google right on your very own palm. The three wonders of the world. All right. And our third speaker for tonight is our honored guest, who comes directly from the United States. He used to be the district governor of the Toastmasters International, and he is the DTM. He comes here in order to visit Laos and Cambodia to establish the Toastmaster Club there, and he has a chance to pay us a visit. And instantly, he would like to give a speech about his experience in a Toastmaster, and the title of the speech is "Just Dive In." Just dive in. Do we have objective for the speech?
Sure.
Okay. Could you please read the objective of the speech?
Sure. Distinguished Toastmaster Paul has made up his own objectives, which I'm sure he'll achieve. The objectives for this particular speech, which he's called Speaking to Entertain, I think might be from the Humorous Speaking Manual or the Entertaining Speaking Manual, is to give an entertaining speech that has a clear point to it, use skills learned in previous speeches and previous life as a Toastmaster and District Governor, and conclude with a call to action that moves the audience to accept a point of view or take a specific action, and time will be 8 to 10 minutes.
Let's welcome Paul White.
Before you start timing, you can consider yourselves to be new Toastmasters or prospective Toastmasters, and my job is to convince you of why you should become a Toastmaster. For most of my life, I considered myself to be among the world's worst speakers. If you talk about shaking hands and knocking knees, I had them. If you talk about a dry mouth and lips as parched as the Sahara Desert, I had those too. And if you talk about stammering and stumbling and struggling with almost every word and every phrase, that was me in spades. I was among the world's worst speakers. My morbid fear of public speaking impacted every aspect of my life. In school, even when I knew the right answer, I wouldn't put up my hand for fear the teacher would say, "Stand up and tell us about it." For years, I wouldn't go to family reunions or weddings, funerals, for the same reason. "Paul, stand up and say a few words about our dearly beloved." But where my morbid fear of public speaking most impacted me was in the workplace. I worked for the U.S. Department of State as a Foreign Service officer for 40 years. But I was so afraid to speak, not only in front of big crowds, but even in my staff meetings. But I was a really hard, dedicated worker, and I kept moving up the ladder. And the higher I got in the bureaucracy, the more opportunities I had for public speaking. So I had to figure out a way to deal with that. And I did. I found a great way to deal with that. First of all, I would write out every word that I wanted to say. Then I would hide behind the lectern. I would hold on for dear life. You could see my shaking. And I would read that speech word by word by word. Now you've probably all seen speakers like that. I had the same monotone and really fast reading, blah, 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 and everyone got to know the bald spot on the top of my head as I read from my paper instead of speaking out to the audience. I had an opportunity under Bill Clinton to become ambassador to Laos. I was nominated to be ambassador to Laos. And then I realized, what does an ambassador do? An ambassador is a public diplomacy person, an expert, speaking to audiences about the United States. And remember, I was the world's worst speaker. So I declined the nomination to be ambassador to Laos out of my fear of public speaking. But there's a tipping point in every relationship. My tipping point came when I was working at the U.S. Embassy in Tokyo, Japan. The ambassador was Walter Mondale. One day my phone rang. Yes, Mr. Ambassador, I'll be right there. I went running up to Ambassador Mondale's office, and he said, "Paul, I'm going out to give a keynote speech. I'd like you to come with me as my note taker." That's what you do in embassies. You follow the ambassador around with your little pad of paper, and you take notes on every promise that the ambassador makes so that it can be followed up on. So we went to this meeting at the Japan International Development Agency. It was a crowded auditorium, about 600 Japanese, packed into this little room, but there was a big stage. On the stage, there was no lectern to hide behind. When Ambassador Mondale was introduced, he walked out into the middle of that big blank stage, no notes, and I was thinking, wow, if I could only do that, just think of what it would do for my career. And about that time, I heard Ambassador Mondale say, ladies and gentlemen, you invited me here to talk about the $15 billion U.S.-Japan cooperation project in third world countries. Then the ambassador said, but you know, as I was walking up here, I thought, why should I give this speech when the very architect of that program is sitting right there on the front row, my minister counselor, Paul White. Wow, have you ever heard the term shock and awe? I stood up with all of my friends. As I was walking up, I was shaking. Sweat was dripping off of me and down the back, my back. But guess what? I made it through that presentation because I knew more about the U.S.-Japan Common Agenda than anyone else did. But on the way back to the embassy, I said, Ambassador Mondale, why did you do that to me? And he smiled and he said, Paul, I've seen you hide behind lecterns. I've seen you reading your notes at our country team meeting. And you're better than that. If you want to learn to swim, you have to get in the water. And since you weren't willing to get in the speaking water, I gave you just a gentle push. And I enjoyed watching you learn to swim. Well, I thought about that a lot. And I realized that I was not among the world's worst speakers. I had just never given public speaking a chance. So I joined a Toastmasters club. And it was amazing. I went to meeting after meeting after meeting without giving my icebreaker speech. Until finally, one day, they said, the next meeting you have to give your icebreaker speech. So I worked on it, I prepared it, I sweated every night about the icebreaker speech. I got to the Toastmasters meeting, the meeting room had a little stage. So I stood up on that little stage and I started my icebreaker speech. And just a few minutes into it, I was stumbling and stammering, and I couldn't do any gestures because I had these big sweat beads on my arms. And I could literally feel the sweat dripping off of me. And I was doing, I thought, a terrible job. But I finished the speech, and I got a standing ovation. Because in that club, they give you a standing ovation for completing your icebreaker speech. And that gave me just a little bit of courage. But I had already decided that I was just going to walk out of the room at the end of this without saying anything to anyone and never come back to another Toastmasters. But then my evaluator came up, and my evaluator said, Paul, you had some pretty good content to your speech, but do you realize that you were trundling all over the stage? You were here, you were there, you have dancing feet. He said, you remind me of Muhammad Ali. You were floating like a butterfly, but you really have some potential. That was a wonderful speech. And that gave me more encouragement, so I stayed in the club. Now, I'm a member of 12 clubs. Can you imagine that? 12 clubs. And I've been a district governor. I've been a Toastmaster for 8 years. I have 2 DTMs. And I'm not a great speaker, but I'm a comfortable speaker now. I'm not afraid to stand up in front of a group and speak because of Toastmasters. Now, I know that I will never sit in a classroom with fear of putting my hand up again. In fact, since I've been in Toastmasters, I've been teaching a graduate seminar. I could never have done that BTM before Toastmasters. And my family, I practiced speeches about my family, and then I went out to family reunions, and I gave speeches about my mother's side of the family. She's a Muskogee Creek Indian. And people in my family had no idea about our family history. And because of Toastmasters, I am now invited all around the United States to family reunions to talk about my family. And when I talk about my family, kids come up and they say, wow, we didn't know that about our family. And I think, thank you, Toastmasters, for giving me a voice and allowing me to share what I know about our family. Now, I mentioned that I've been nominated for an ambassadorship. I'll never be nominated again, especially since Obama won in this administration, because I'm a Republican. But I run a small foreign service business. Pentagon, State Department are my clients. And when I give a after project brief, people say, wow, would you like an opportunity to do this or that? And I say, thank you, Toastmasters, because the cash register goes ka-ching. So I'm here to tell you today that if you're thinking about joining Toastmasters, if you're a nervous speaker like I was, you will become a comfortable speaker. If you're already a really good speaker, you can become a great speaker. You can become a paid professional speaker. So if you're thinking about Toastmasters, the water is right here in front of you. It's warm, it's inviting, and it's easy to learn to swim in Toastmasters. In fact, you don't need anyone to give you a gentle push. If you're really interested, just dive in.
Paul White, just jump into the water to learn to swim. And I also run into a quote in Peter's Facebook when I looked for your phone number after I got a call from Patron last night and asked for your phone number. It says, no, knowledge worth nothing if it's not put into action, right? So, in order to be a good speaker, make sure that you jump into it and practice the public speaking. So, in the Toastmasters club, we don't have teacher here. We all teach each other. No one is going to catch your mistake. And it gives you a good opportunity to get the compliment or give you an opportunity for improvement from your own audience, and it really simulate when you are in the real public speaking, when you want to give a speech for audience from all walks of life. And that was our third speaker for tonight. And in the next in the agenda, we are going to introduce our guests and visitors of our club. I think tonight we have one guest over there. Three. Okay. There are three guests actually. It will be great if you can introduce yourself to our to everyone here, and we start from a gentleman from the back, please. So you have 10 to 20 seconds to talk about yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Please go ahead.
My name is Chok Chai. I come here to. I used to be Toastmaster, and I come back to Toastmaster system.
Are you Mr. Toy who gave me a toy? Okay, different one. Okay. Toastmaster Chok Chai. Welcome to the Saturday Toastmaster. After when we recess, maybe you want to talk to our VP Edwin about being a member in our club. Okay.
Don't waste any time with the hard sell.
Okay. And our next guest, could Patra, please?
My name is Prabhairat, and I've just come back to Toastmaster after a 6 years absence. I used to belong to this club, and I founded this club.
All right.
He's the founder of the club. I just got to know from her that she is the real founder of the club, and we are very pleased to have her here tonight. Since which year?
May 2004, when I was division governor.
Oh,
It says it on the banner.
Oh, yeah. May 2004.
And our next guest, I think we know about him just better just now after his speech, but could you please
Certainly.
introduce a little bit more about yourself?
Good. First of all, I'm here because Petra is taking me to a couple of Thai clubs, so I can get a sense of how the clubs are doing in Thailand, and also maybe find some sister club relationships for the new clubs I'm going to create in Laos and Cambodia. What I will say about Toastmasters is that it's a wonderful organization for lots of reasons, because we learn to speak better, but also because we find friends and develop friends. In fact, I can count the number of friends I have from my youth maybe on one hand. And even though I went to college and university and graduate school and all of that, I can count my friends on one hand. But my Toastmasters friends, I can't count with all of my hands, all of my fingers, all of my toes. I have lots of friends. So I come to Thailand and I send a note to someone that I met many years ago at a Toastmasters convention. And now she's taken me to Thai clubs. Toastmasters is wonderful that way. When you walk into a Toastmasters club anywhere in the world, you're treated like family. You've treated me like family. So I love this organization. I love Laos and Cambodia, 2 countries I worked in. So I'm going there to make Laos number 117 in the world in the Toastmasters family, and Cambodia number 118, so that we have 2 new countries in Toastmasters. I appreciate your reception and your kindness and your warmth to me. Like I said, I feel like I'm with family. Thank you.
And next in the agenda, we're going to give 5 minutes to our VPA, Edwin, to talk about the mentoring program.
Thank you, Toastmasters. Yeah, fellow Toastmasters, we have this time here I want to use basically for business, because we're finished with our speeches, and then the next part after the break we'll have our evaluations and the reports. But I know that we have 2 subjects. One is the Christmas party for the 22nd. We're going to have that coming up. I need to get some commitments in terms of people who want to go. It will be 350 baht per person. It will take place at Soy 8 Bar. It's a restaurant area in the back. It's going to be 3-course, basically an appetizer, a meal with, so it's a Western place, so it's a beef dish, and we have dessert, 3 courses. And although some of you don't have to eat beef, it can be vegetarian, so they have an option for you if you want to do that. So I need to get a commitment from each one of you if you want to go, or just let me know if you want to, and I can collect the money and give it to the manager so they'll have an idea. Would you like to attend?
Would there be a meeting too, or just as?
I was thinking about a meeting, but I don't think we have time to really set up anything. But I think Peter and I discussed that maybe a round robin and have
I think it's a good opportunity to do a lot of the sort of special occasion speeches.
Oh.
They're in the advanced manuals.
Oh, I didn't
There
think about that.
are speeches for speaking after dinner, which is a perfect
Very
place
good
for
idea.
it, and giving a toast. We are Toastmasters, but no one does toast, so that you can actually do the 1 to 2 minute toast. Perhaps we could get 5 or 6 people to prepare a proper toast and give a toast.
Yes.
And that's actually, it's a proper,
Venue for that.
yeah, and it's a proper project, and you can get the evaluation too.
It will be a joint meeting with Fun
We
for
will be
Friday,
doing
right?
the Fun for Friday. Yes,
Yeah, and they mentioned that they would like a meeting.
yes, we were talking about a meeting, but I haven't had a chance to meet with them, but it's going to be, as he says, a very short type of topic, 2 or 3 minutes, which is the way we like to have it, because I don't think people are going to be well prepared for long speeches. But I think Fun for Friday has that as a tradition, and we like to join in because it'll make it more congenial, and also make a maybe 22 people will be able to come together and join. I'll get the information from you later on. If you are interested, just sign up with me. And the other issue that we have that we brought up last meeting was the possibility of moving. We have not really discussed a lot about it. We have looked at some other venues. One of the things that we have is that we have 2 clubs at the Sheraton Grand, which is on Sukhumvit, and they're doing one on Wednesday, which it's the Advanced Club, and the Tuesday is the one I used to belong to, which is Capital Club, and it's a very nice place. But I found out some information, and it may be good news, may be bad news. It's very expensive, number one. It's 5,000 baht, and if there's only 10 people, it's still a lot of money for each one of us to handle. And I don't think our club is really ready to go to that, even though I love it and I like the area and I like the venue, because we have screens and we have PowerPoint, we have everything that you need for making great presentations. Do we have any discussion on that? Do you have a question, Scott?
Didn't you say there was like a cheaper room, like 3,000? Like you told me?
There is a cheaper room. What it is a boardroom, which is like a table, very large table, and it's got like 6 chairs on each side. It's 12 maximum, and the room is about half this size.
It's going to be very expensive, 300 baht each.
It's 3,000 baht each. I mean 3,000 for the room. And it's not viable, I don't think. But
if I can give you some suggestions, the Sheraton's about the most expensive place you can find.
Right.
There are a lot of other places, other hotels, and you can just drop in there and see what their facilities are, and negotiate. When we went to the Sheraton Hotel, they quoted us, I think, 17,000 for the room, and we negotiated down to 5,000.
Wow.
So that's an idea of what opportunities
Yes,
are there.
I was just,
Yeah.
You're right, Peter, and I just wanted to bring that up because some people might not have that information that I have, and I wanted to get that out first. The other option, like Peter says, is that we have other places we can look at. There's other options, even if we really want to go to Sheraton, we can always do that too. But I think Petra brought up a subject.
Yeah. May I offer
Sure, she has something to offer.
suggestion,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm not sure, because I just got here
Just
and
discussion, go
and
ahead.
learn about low membership. So I thought maybe one of the reasons might be the location. I have a friend who is the owner of a language school at Science Square, and if I could talk to her and have her agree us using the facility there, and we can also build more members by their students might like to join Toastmasters. So at each meeting we might have more members. They come to attend the meeting first, and if they like it, they become members. So that's one choice.
Right.
And BTS, that's a big station for traveling by BTS. And
It's close to the BTS.
yeah, and no charge,
Right.
no expenses.
That
So
might
you
be
just
an
pay
attractive
the
thing.
6 months. I believe in not spending a lot of money.
Right.
I'm frugal. Anyway, and that's one more option, which is the Christian University at Payathai Station. Sapan Wachan, do you know it? That Christian University, they teach in English. And once I did demonstration meeting there a few years back, and I hope if I go back to talk with the dean,
Why don't we we do
with the
this? When do we
dean.
get some more information?
Sorry?
When do we get some more information and more specific information if it's
I
available?
don't know when because I will have to find out.
Yeah, we can do that for
Yeah, who
January.
to talk to
It's
and
not a rush.
you know, just this is just an idea because they have great meeting room and they would love to have their students joining us because they study in English and the master program they all also travel to United States and the UK and they would like to
Yeah, I think
become
that's-
That
Toastmasters.
sounds good.
Yeah, university is a good
The main
place.
thing
Yeah,
is
really
I think the
basically-
Science Square also
And-
sounds good.
Yeah, Times Square, so they are next to one another.
Oh, then.
Yeah, Payathai, just one more station. And they offer breaks and everything for free.
It might be a good idea to think about where we want to be and then find a place near there. That's what I found is the most effective. You know, like sort of shooting in the dark, throwing darts.
Let's go to other
And-
hotels as you said.
Yeah, if
just
you
to
think about
have-
where we are now, we're near the MRT
Mhm.
and BTS maybe. Be good to be
I
near
think
both.
I think the goal we had was to increase the membership and
Mm.
have a more stabilized membership.
So-
The second thing was it had to be near a place that everybody could get to easily.
Mhm.
It's somewhere near
That's
Seattle
one of
is
the
great.
detracting things about this particular place. So, yeah, those are two good ideas. We
Yeah.
can pursue those and
Do
talk
you
about
like it at Science Square, location wise?
Sounds
I
good.
think it's
Okay,
That's
at
very close.
Christian
Very
University, you
close.
know, why don't I talk to them both?
Yeah.
So why? Because
Get
we
the
can even
details,
build
right?
one more club,
Sure.
right, Peter?
Mm.
We might even build one more club because there are a lot of students at the Christian University and make it open club and anybody can join that club.
It will still be held on Saturday, right?
We will talk to the school for Saturday.
We will see what they have
Yeah,
available.
we'll investigate and see what happens.
It is a Saturday club.
Just to be on Saturday.
I'm sure we can hold a meeting on Saturday at Science Square because they have a lot of students coming on Saturday and Sunday. But
Yeah,
at Christian
I think we would
University, I'm
like
not
to-
sure.
We would like to keep it on Saturdays.
Mm.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I
there is
agree.
always a possibility of,
Yeah.
as I spoke to Peter, that there's new clubs that can be opened
Mhm.
if there's, the right conditions. But I think the first thing is take care of our people here and try to get a Saturday club going somewhere else. If this is not growing, it's a deterrent for our club.
Is there a contract here? How much longer will we have to use the place here?
It's an ad hoc.
I don't
No
know.
contract.
Okay, so there's no
There's no problem.
commitment.
Anyway, I think it's time for a break. I do thank you, Petra, for your input and for all each one of you for understanding that the Christmas party is coming in. So please give me some information if you have, and we can actually go forward to the 22nd of December when I present that to the Fun for Friday Club also. So any questions on that particular? Okay, great. So we just have the break, 15 minutes?
Yes.
Mhm.
We are back.
Good job.
It's 3:45.
Good to see you.
Yeah, yeah.
Jessica.
I'm Maria.
I'm Maria.
Yeah. How's it last day?
We could go there, be 200 baht per person, but we could probably go there without having maybe a minimum of 10 people or something.
And also the forest.
So yeah, there's
It was a great place.
a lot of opportunities. Nick, good to see you again, man. Haven't seen you for a long time. Sorry, took your seat, huh?
Glad you're here. You can take a seat, no problem.
But I can tell you, everything I said was true. I've been in for 40 years.
Yeah, you're right. It's like